Okay guys, today we're doing 1.6 solving proportions. So get your notebook pages set up your table of contents, and then we will get started. If you need to pause the video, you will pause the video at this time. Okay, so before we get started on how to actually solve proportions, we need to add that vocabulary to our vocab page. So in the very last box on your vocabulary page, you need to add the term proportion. A proportion is an equation that states two ratios are equal. So for example, 8 over 11 is equal to x over 22. Okay, so back to our notes. How exactly do we solve these things? Our first example is going to be 7 over 8 equals m over 12, and we want to solve for 12. So we have m by itself in the numerator right here. Currently it's being divided by 12. So to get rid of a divide by 12, we multiply both sides by 12. So the 12s reduce, and we are left with 7 times 12 gives me 84 over 8 equals m. 84 over 8 reduces by 4. So 4 goes into 84 21 times, and 4 goes into 8 2 times. So you can have m equals 21 over 2. Another acceptable answer is if you plug this into the calculator, you would get m equals 10.5. Or you could also give me m equals 10 and 1/2. All three of these are acceptable answers. Okay, so that's really great. We can use multiplication to reverse the division and get the variable by itself, but there will be some problems that are a little bit more complicated than that. So we have a new property called the cross products property. Which states that cross products are equal. Okay. So the cross products property says that cross products are equal, meaning if we multiply crossways, we can set those products equal to each other. So let me show you in a simple example. So example 2, we have 4 over 3 equals 8 over x. So in this case, x is in the denominator, so using the multiplication like we did in example 1 wouldn't really work. So let's use the cross products. So cross products mean across the equal sign, I can multiply. So that's going to be 3 times 8, and that is equal to 4 times x. So we're cross multiplying or doing cross products. 3 times 8 gives me 24 equals 4x, and then we can divide both sides by 4. And that gives me x equals 6. So there's actually two methods we can use to solve for these proportions. So let's make it a bit more complicated. So example 3, I'm going to put quantities in here. So b minus 8 over 5 equals b plus 3 over 4. I'm still going to use the cross products property, but the first thing I want you guys to notice is that we have more than one thing in the numerators. So I want you to put parentheses around both of those so that we can keep them together when we're multiplying. And then we'll just do the cross product. So that's going to be 5 times b plus 3. And the cross product property says that that is equal to 4 times b minus 8. And then we solve just like we solved other equations at the beginning of the unit. So I'm going to distribute 5b plus 15 equals 4b minus 32. I'm going to subtract 4b from both sides. So we get 1b plus 15 equals negative 32. And then subtract 15. So we end up with b equals negative 47. Example 4. I do want you to write out the word problem, so pause the video so that everyone has enough time to write for the last example. So example 4. An MP3 player has 2 gigabytes of storage that can hold about 500 songs. We have a similar player that has 80 gigabytes of storage, and I want to know how many songs that larger player can hold. So we're going to have to write a proportion for each of these and then solve for how many songs can fit on the 80 gigabyte MP3 player. So first we need to write a ratio that represents the first MP3 player. So the first MP3 player has 2 gigabytes, and that holds 500 songs. And then we're going to set it equal to each other. The larger MP3 player has 80 gigabytes, but we don't know how many songs, so I'm going to call that S. That's what we are solving for. So I have gigabytes on top, songs on bottom, and it should match in the other ratio, gigabytes on top, songs on bottom. So then I'm going to use cross products to solve this. So 2S equals 80 times 500. So that's 2S equals 80 times 500 gives me 40,000. And then to solve, I divide by 2. So I get S equals 20,000 songs. So that's how we solve proportions. You guys have 4 problems on the left side of your page. So on the left side, you are going to do problems 1, 4, 6, and 7. And I have those copied down for you that you can leave on the .cam and keep it up there if you guys do not want to pull your books out. So those are your problems.